first triple digit flip, and I just saw how good I felt about it, how everybody won, including the seller, and how I was able to really participate in something really special. And I learned a lot along the way.
Hey, legacy builders, and welcome back to Your Money, Your Rules, the show where real people share real strategies to build real legacies, the kind that not only grow your bank account, but also ripple into your family, your community, and the generations coming after you. Now, I'm your host, Teresa Villaruz, founder of the Thrive Movement, and I believe wealth shouldn't fund just your freedom, but also fuel your purpose and leave a trail of impact you can be proud of. And today, you're going to meet someone who's doing exactly that in a space most investors overlook, and that is raw land. My guest, Austin Marvell, is the founder of the Land League, where he buys, develops, and sells raw land across the Carolinas. But here's the twist. He also teaches people how to do this anywhere in the country. Now, Austin isn't just about deals. His Mount Everest is promoting sustainable property ownership, building a clean and healthy lifestyle, and raising the next generation through intentional parenting. So if you've ever wondered how dirt, yes, literally dirt, could change your wealth trajectory and your impact footprint, stick around. Now, without further ado, let's welcome the marvelous Austin Marvell.
Hey, wow, that was really good. You definitely crushed that. Nice.
Well, thank you. You have a wealth of knowledge and a lot of value to provide the audience. So it's only, right for us to welcome you warmly.
Wow. Well, hey, I feel honored to be here. I know you've put in so much work just consistently. And I know that because we've gotten to know each other over the last like 6 months or year, and you've just been crushing it. And, everybody measures that differently, but I think the consistency thing, when people are really consistently doing something over and over and over again, in my eyes, that's a massive win. So keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's, to help the audience, to help everyone. And really, it's about building that legacy and what are you living in this world for, right?
Yeah.
Now, sorry, but I do have to ask you, right? I like to start off with just asking you, like, peeling it back to the time where, or what was that moment? Maybe a deal, maybe a life event when you realized that raw land wasn't just a business opportunity, but the thing that you were meant to lean on for impact.
Yeah, it's a great question. Land is one of those overlooked asset classes, and everybody wants the sexy thing, right? The Airbnb, the flip. They want to be able to do multifamily. Now it's kind of co-living or sober. Like there's these things that people really get attached to, thinking, oh my gosh, that's going to be my source of freedom. The get out of jail free card, or like the easy pill. Everybody wants that red button that they can push, and I have trouble like identifying one single moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to stick with land. But I remember over having experience and like seeing some wins, someone just said, why are you trying to do anything else? Because I was trying to find my lane in residential and small multifamily. I have a decent portfolio of, cash flowing assets and good properties, but I was doing land on the side. And I realized after a couple of conversations just how much I knew about the asset class. And after having a couple of conversations that went further, and people like, man, you gotta show the world how this stuff works, because it's not a sexy asset class. There's no HGTV show about flipping land or developing dirt, really. So yeah, I guess as an entrepreneur, you get asked over and over again. And eventually I was like, you know what? I should just create the solution. I should really lean in here. So it's the most simple form of real estate, in my opinion. It's not too complex. There's just some basic principles about it, and it's like the foundation of it all. So figured, why not lean into that?
Yeah. So it seems like you were doing some, like, obviously other asset classes as well, and then got into land. At what point did you stop being like, land is just another thing, and really lean in on that? Like, was there a moment where like, land is actually more profitable, or it's more fun flipping it? Like, what was that?
Yeah, I think it was probably our first triple digit flip. And I just saw how good I felt about it, how everybody won, including the seller, and how I was able to really participate in something really special. And I learned a lot along the way. And after that, I was like, man, there's something here. I mean, that's a big deal. Like it was super simple. I had a good team in place who handled 90% of the work, and I just really got to stay in my lane and kind of watch everything happen as it was orchestrated. And I think that was the moment. If there was a moment, that's where I was like, oh, this is real. We just made a lot of money on this deal. And there were a lot of us involved. I guess maybe like five, including the seller. So it was pretty cool. We got to really share the wealth there on that deal.
Oh, that's awesome. Would you mind kind of diving deeper into like how did that process go from like finding the deal to having a conversation with the seller and so on?
Yeah, sure. It's actually a pretty interesting story. So my business partner and I, we built a like direct to seller system. It's very simple. We like to keep it simple and clean. And it was basically just cold call and direct mail would drive people into our CRM, and then we would have conversations with them and close them. It's a little bit more robust now. We've got AI and a lot of automations in place, but it's still kind of the same methodology. Talk to sellers, find a good property, get it at a discount, and then purchase it. And then there's a whole other side of things, exit strategies and everything. But we bought this property, or we got it under contract, I should say, in rural South Carolina. I think it was 56 acres, and we got it for 135,000. That's a lot of sweet talking back and forth to the seller and just seeing like, do you even want this property? And they get inundated with postcards and everything, but when you're actually talking to them on the phone, you get the chance to build that relationship. So we got that piece of land for 135. We had like 60 to 90 days to perform. So being new in our business, we were like, how are we going to get someone to give us $135,000? We know it's worth 170 at least, but what are we going to do? Because a lot of people were looking at this deal and they were just super, super conservative. And they're like, the market's weird. Well, the market's always weird, but they didn't necessarily have access to the data that we did. So eventually we found someone that said, hey, this deal doesn't necessarily work as a flip only because you don't have really strong comps on this road that you're on, but it really works as a subdivide. Everyone's looking for not 56 acres, but 9 or 10 acre tracts. So because it had a long amount of road frontage and it was just a simple square, we could just cut it into different properties. So we cut it into new lots, offered them individually at a heck of a deal, and they moved so quick. I think it was like 2 weeks on Facebook Marketplace. So that was where it was really like, man, all I really had to do was build a solid relationship with the seller and then kind of put the right people in place, seats on the bus, if you will. And yeah, that was the eye-opening deal, our first subdivide, a rural exempt subdivide in rural South Carolina.
Wow, that's amazing. So that was your first flip. You said it was a triple digit flip as well because the subdivides?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I want to say after it was all said and done, we walked away with like 225, and we had an equity partner that we split that with because we had never done a subdivide before. We didn't know how simple it was to just hire a surveyor and a soil guy and then, really good photography. So we had hired those contractors. We brought in an equity partner to help us do that. And they got the best deal. They didn't have to put up a whole lot. All they did was help find the funding and orchestrate the contractors. And then we handled everything else from acquisition to disposition. So they really got the best deal. And we're in a similar group, sub two. And so they found us through there. But it was crazy. I mean, we got told no by probably 5 or 10 different lenders who they do like, you buy it and then you go list it with an agent for 6 months. And they just kept telling us no. And we were like, man, something's got to give here. I mean, we know it's a good deal. And finally, we got the right people who saw something that nobody else did. So it was pretty cool. That was a fun deal.
Yeah.
In and out in like 2 months, maybe. I think it was 1 month.
Oh, so. Wow. That's amazing. And that kind of like also shows you, right? Like, if there's something why community is important, why surrounding yourself with the right people is important, because if there's things that you're not necessarily knowledgeable about, right? Like subdividing and all that stuff, just reach out to the community and someone might be able to help you. And which is kind of like what you were able to do. And now rather than just, getting 135K and flipping it to 170K, subdividing it, now it's over 225 you mentioned? Yeah.
Yeah, that was our profit. I think we walked like it was total of like 385 that we ended up selling it at. So we paid like 20 grand for a survey and then another couple of $1,000s for a soil guy and then obviously good photos and stuff. But yeah, it was a life-changing deal for sure.
Well, I don't know about you. You said land isn't that sexy, but that those numbers sounded very sexy.
The numbers are sexy for sure. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like we had to spend some money to get that conversation going in the first place.
Mhm.
Um, but those are, I mean, not every deal is like that. That was just enough barefoot conversations with this guy because it all ends up on the phones. We're like, well, let's just go to cold call and start building these relationships. And I think it was like probably 30 to 60 days of just maybe once every other week, like, hey man, you still want to sell that property? And just overall, once we got it under contract, it was, like I said, just a defeat, no at every corner. And then finally we got that yes. And
Yeah.
we're like, man, why? How did everybody miss this? This is a big deal. So
Yeah.
yeah, now we look at all deals with a little bit more, yes, we're conservative, but we're also like remembering that in the background of,
Mm.
just because it might not pencil out one way doesn't mean it doesn't make sense the other way. So yeah, that's
Right.
us in a nutshell.
Similar to like any type of real estate, right? There's multiple exit strategies.
Always,
Always.
always.
Yeah. Now, that was your first deal. Before that, were you kind of like similar to a lot of people juggling like W-2 or another business and then doing this on the side?
Okay, that was probably our second or third. I should correct you. Probably second or third deal. I might have misrepresented there, but it was the first time we had ever done a subdivide. We had done little land flips, just trying to figure it out. But that was the first one where we were like, okay, this makes sense. This is a real thing. And I've never been a W-2 employee, never
Mhm.
sat in a cubicle. I have ran the last 10 to 15 years of my life as a professional photographer and a cinematographer. So, I started out shooting weddings. I shot product stuff, a lot of B2B. And then it turned into kind of like branding and doing the personal branding thing and helping people set up vlogs. And even what was interesting is remember COVID, that thing that happened in what was that, 2019,
Hmm.
2020? Well, right off the
Very.
rip, I lost a lot of money because I was scheduled for like I think I had 15 to $20,000 in like booked events that I was going to shoot. And all those obviously got canceled because they were in-person events and everyone thought the world was, ending. So that was kind of crazy, but then I pivoted into like food photography. Apparently, all the cities needed Uber Eats and Grubhub, like that became more popular. So that was my niche for a couple of years. So all that to be said, I tried a lot of different things in terms of like what kind of photography and videography I was interested in, and kept cutting them out. I don't like weddings, cut those out. I don't like shooting food, cut those out. I don't like shooting houses, cut that out. Like I went through and tried all these things, and eventually I landed on raw land, and I figured out that I could shoot it, and I could also take a stab at selling it and buying it. So that was kind of my introductory to all this. Like I was learning how to market it. So I got good at drone photography and seeing what worked and what didn't. And then eventually I was like, man, I think I need my own direct to seller system here. I need to be able to buy land without having to go on land.com and realtor and everything. And there's still deals on the MLS, but I wanted to go direct to seller. So we built all that out.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that you were just like, got into that niche of land photography and then eventually thought, well, I could do this to do land flipping. That's
Yeah. Yeah. It's super interesting. So you're in Southern California or Central California, right?
right. Monterey Bay.
Oh, that's my favorite place. So I don't know if you've gotten these letters, but a lot of people, especially here in the South and in Texas, I'm not sure where all your audience is listening from, but especially in Texas and the South and even Florida, you get all these like postcards that say like 1 day land sale, 10 acres for 59.9 or something that just seems too good to be true. And what it is a land liquidation event where people run a marketing land sale. People can go buy under market value at a really good deal. So during COVID, I mean, that was a huge deal down in Texas. A lot of developers were doing that. And I got in with a company like that. And I was like, man, you guys' photography and marketing looks like it's straight out of the 80s or the 90s. What was it, shot on film? And they saw me just flying my drone and having my camera as I always do. I mean, you've seen me out and about in the world. I always
Yeah.
have my camera. And yeah, they were like, how can you help us get a little facelift here? So that was kind of the intro to like this whole world. I was seeing people move 20, 40, even more millions of dollars, like 20 to 30 million dollars in a single day land sale. It's like, whoa, this is a really good kept secret in real estate. I've never seen this. Just like the story I told you where we moved, I think it was 8 lots and made $225,000 in a setting of 2 weeks. I was exposed to people who are doing that, but they're moving 20 to $50 million of inventory in a weekend. And that was just, still is mind blowing to me. But yeah, that was kind of my intro to this industry.
Yeah, and raw land.
Like, wow, there's something here. People clearly want
it. Yeah, I do get those flyers or even like the ads about like, raw land that's being subdivided and sold for like less than $50,000 and close to Vegas. And yeah, so totally get it. Now, you're working on something else as well. You're flipping land, but you're also building something called the Land League. Tell me more about that.
Okay, so over time, I mean, just clearly I'm passionate about land. I love to hike and I love to just be outdoors in nature. So I kept getting asked questions of like, how does this work? How do you make a real estate business on this? And that's just like asking someone, hey, how do I make money buying a house? Like there's just so many different ways you could do it. That cat can be skinned a lot of different types of ways. And I really just kept getting asked this question over and over. And I figured like, there's not that many communities out there. I mean, there's tons of like courses you can take, but there's not that many communities where you can go learn how other people are doing this at the highest level. So because I was around these developers, getting to know them really well, and they don't want to be on Facebook or Instagram. These are not influencers, the people who are developing at that level. But I'm like, man, I think there's something there to where people would actually like bite onto this and pay attention to either a podcast or like a YouTube series or something where people can come learn about this a little bit. So our mutual friend Pace was we were out in Montana and he was like, man, you need to start filming and documenting some of this and tell people about how this works. And I just so happened to be staying at one of his friend's house and it had this awesome like lake view and he had a whiteboard. So I was like, you know what, I got today, so let's just film a little mini series. So I filmed a little mini series, didn't realize how much value it would bring. I was just kind of going over the basics of raw land and I put it on a school community, which is free. Well, I pay $100 a month or whatever it costs for it, but it's free to people to come in and kind of learn. And, it's kind of taken off. There's a lot of us that do Q&A, like member Zooms, where we just talk about what's going on in the market, AI, and best practices when it comes to acquisition and development and all that. So the Land League, it's a big family of people who are learning about land.
That's awesome. Now, for someone who wants to get into this community, the Land League, right? How can they get into that community and learn from you?
Yeah, well, it's free. I try to give away as much as I can. There's not much money, I think, in running a course, like in comparison to what I've seen in developing land and developing dirt. So I do it when I have the time. It's not one of those things like every Wednesday we go off and do this. That's not it. It's just when I get a chance, I will put together a webinar or a Zoom, or if somebody asks enough questions. But we have a Facebook page, so you can look up the Land League on Facebook and join our page. Just be a giver, like leave the room better than you found it. And we do that on school too. We've got a school community where we've got our free video series, and you can just look up Land AI or the Land League. And we talk a lot about how to build like an 8-figure land business with AI and raw land as a fulcrum. So a lot of people, when they ask, I'm like, I have an AI company, a technology company that happens to buy and sell land. Like it's crazy, the AI that we have implemented from every perspective. So I like to keep people informed on what's going on.
That's awesome. And the community gets access to that as well. Like, is that something?
Yeah. Basically what it is like me and my business partner, we'll be talking and we're like, oh, we should hit record. Since we're nerding out, we should just like, let's make a YouTube video out of this. So we'll just talk like we normally do on our one-on-ones. And we kind of bring that to light because a lot of like the conversations we have of how do we grow and scale this business, they're very relevant to someone who's maybe just starting out. They'd be like, oh, that's how that works. So we just started exposing a little bit about how we do this thing, and what it looks like.
That's awesome. So for someone who's listening, never touched land before, but wants to get like a 30,000 foot view of how you make this work, just search for the group, the Land League on Facebook, and even join your free school account, right?
Yeah. Join our school, join our Facebook group. They're both free for now. And we'll teach you anything. If you have questions, just ask. Like, you can make a post and ask, and me or any of the other people in there will gladly like catch you up to speed. That's a cool thing about the land community, is like it's such a small niche that it's not like there's other wholesalers who are trying to take my deals. I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of parcels of land. 9 times out of 10, if you're doing a land business and we're both marketing to the same state, we're probably doing different things. I'm looking for subdivide and development opportunities. You might be looking for infill and flips. Like, I don't have the bandwidth to do everything. I just want to do enough deals to keep us happy and allow us to scale. So it's such a giving community. You know, there's no competition, no like, you know, how much did you do this year? There's none of that, or at least we don't allow it. We'll kick it out if we find it.
Love that. Love that. And knowing you, you're such a go-giver, from like all the different times that we've encountered each other. And like, you're like, I could just feel in my heart that you're such a go-giver. And I love the phrase that you mentioned. Obviously, a lot of people know this, which is leave the world a better place than you found it, which a lot of us Owners Club members are doing, right? So just kind of tossing it back to you, what is that Mount Everest of yours where you're working on to leave this world a better place?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's so easy to just say, you know, I want to get super rich and have Ferraris and the Huracan. Like, I have a Mount Everest for financial goals, but you know, I was up in Bellingham, Washington 2 weeks ago, and I was unfortunately helping my uncle bury his daughter, who was 2 years older than me. And meanwhile, my aunt, my dad's sister, is going on about like, oh my gosh, we made this money doing this or whatever, which rightfully so. Like, we talk about money and our financial goals, and he just said, you know, how much is enough? And it really hit me. This is from someone who just lost his adult daughter, and it really hit me. It's like, man, how much is enough? Like, we forget how epic of a life most of us get to live. And if you've gone to a third world country, if you've gone to like the shady parts of town and seen the way that most people have grown accustomed to living, you might be reminded of just how good you've got it. And I think a lot of people forget that. Like, I have young little kids, so I'm often trying to remind them like just how amazing life is. Like, we woke up today, you know, we have an opportunity to do whatever we want, really. And my Mount Everest, if you will, like the peak of what we can accomplish and how we can give back, has to do with that, just expanding that mindset and giving people a reason to potentially appreciate what they've got, because we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. We don't know when we're going to lose the people that we love. And we don't live that way either. Like, we don't live fully. So my message has always been the same for the past, I mean, as long as I've been alive. People have known that I'm that guy that's like, hey, what are you doing? You want to go on a hike, or you want to go travel to this place? Like, I'm very spontaneous, and I try to just go after life aggressively. And I really want to promote that. Land is, again, a fulcrum. So promoting property ownership in America, developing really cool communities where people can come in and be like proud to own something. They got it at a discount, and it's got all the healthy, natural, like, it's promoting a healthy lifestyle. Go play in the sun, go fish in the creek, go, you know, just enjoy life. And it has to do with tiny homes and homesteads and all that, but I don't think I have enough time to get into all that. Essentially, it's just promoting a happy, healthy, cleaner lifestyle for as many people possible.
Awesome. I mean, that's what life is about, right? It's not about like, you know, just hustling to make as much money as you can. It's about like, you know, money is a tool. And that tool is what you use to live a life that's worth living and sharing with the people that you love and making an impact in this world.
Absolutely. It is, money is a tool, you know, and it can become a trap if you're not too careful. For all the W-2 people who are listening, like, you gotta always balance. Am I chasing a carrot? Am I a hamster on a wheel? Like, what's the point of all this? What are we really trying to accomplish? If it's, well, I just want to spend time with my family and kids, well, those kids are growing up, and you're gonna miss out if you don't start that now. There's never a convenient time to leave your W-2. Never. No matter how much money you make. I have really good friends who stick with it. They stick in the thing that they hate. And it's like 8 years will go by. Like, man, didn't you say you were going to quit that job and, you know, launch that business or do that thing? And before they realize it's become a trap. You know, maybe it's a high income and it would be hard to leave, but it's become a trap because that's where their attention has been the last 8 to 10 years. So Yeah, I encourage everybody not to just irresponsibly quit your jobs, but pay some attention into like, how do we exit ASAP and go live life?
Yes, live life. Now, true to your money, your rules fashion, we do want to make each episode actionable. One action is already go look for your community, both in Facebook and school. But outside of that, what would be one action or homework you would give the audience today so that they can take that action this week and progress in either, starting their land journey or whatnot? What would that homework be?
Yeah. Well, if you want land to potentially be one of the fulcrums that you can use, go watch that video series on the school community. It's very easy. I made like 10-minute episodes, and it's very simple. You can work through it in 2 hours, and then you'll get a grasp of like how land could actually play a part into your investing and real estate journey. But on a further note, it has so much more to do with mindset. I mean, this stuff about affirmations and manifestation, writing down your dreams, that's got a lot more credibility than people like to admit. It sounds like crazy. It sounds foo-foo and hippie and new age or whatever, but I've seen it work. I have like right here in front of me, I have these like little index cards written where I've got like, I didn't mean to share this, but I've got like little index cards written with like tangibles of if my life were to be happening the exact way that I want it to, firing on all cylinders, what would have to be true? And then I put down, the 5 things that this next year would have to be true in order to make that a reality. And then I reverse engineer it and kind of work backwards, and then I put it on my calendar. And I mean, we all have access to AI, so we can utilize these tools to really help us. But I'm good friends with a lot of people who are like, you need to do the guided meditations, you need it, and they actually help facilitate that process. And I've seen how much it has healed people over the years. So I would really write your dreams down and start coming up with like a personalized, actionable plan, because nobody else is going to do it for you. You've got to do the work.
Amen. Yeah, you've got to do the work. So first and foremost, go check out Austin's Facebook, the Land League, and in school as well. He's created bingeable content for you to watch. And then obviously people, a lot of people I see is like they consume content, but they don't take action. And it might be the mindset. So work on your mindset as well and make sure that, things are aligned. And jump on opportunities when they present themselves, right? And while we're talking about overlooked opportunities like land, I want you to think about this. Every deal, every investment starts with capital, but not all capital is created equal. What if your money could grow in 2 places at once, funding deals like land flips while still earning for you behind the scenes? That's exactly what we explore inside Thrive Banking. So if you want to learn how to leverage your money smarter, safer, and with purpose, I invite you to connect with me after the show or check out thrivebankingstrategies.com. Austin, thank you so much for being here and for showing us that sometimes the path to wealth and impact is unpaved, literally.
Wow, that was great. Thank you for having me. I truly feel honored being a guest today. This was awesome.
Of course. Thank you so much. And to the legacy builders, take control, build legacy, and remember, your money, your rules.